everybody. Sarah Paz, CMO of Embed, and I'm super excited about the following conversation because I am sitting here with Amy Hedrick, okay, who literally became like my fast friend, bestie, etc. Because, you know, they say your vibe attracts your tribe, right? And I remember when I met you, I was like, I need to be friends with her. She is the founder, the owner, the queen bee, the chief of everything for Cleanbox Technology, okay? And she works not only in the industry of fun, but across a number of different industries, which to me is just, it blows my mind.
Yes.
Now, you've been an entrepreneur for 10 years, okay? Tell us your secret to success. Tell us what it's like, what you've experienced in the industry of fun.
In the industry of fun, well, first of all, it's a ton of fun, and I love attending the fun trade shows every year because it kind of helps compensate for those that are a bit more serious, and being able to come and look and go on a ride. I know that you might do business with that person as well at the same time is very, very rewarding. But being an entrepreneur, I would just say it is the road less traveled. It is a journey, and if you ever want to do something a little unique and you're not afraid of a few risks, you might want to try it.
Man, because I think many times you refer to it as your baby, okay?
Yes.
Who needs a child when you can have your own company, right?
Yes, correct.
And I think at the same time, it's about being married to the hustle.
Yeah,
right?
Every single day, you have to wake up with the expectation that something will happen that day that you never anticipated. You don't plan for it, you don't learn it in school, you learn it through exercise, through life, through experiences, and through the engagement with your customers, and also, you know, just your general business. You have to definitely keep your pulse on global economics, macro, micro, any kind of events that might shift that would impact your business. And from one perspective, that's a very exciting life to live.
I mean, it's a very exciting life to live, as well as one in which there's a lot of uncertainty, okay? Right?
Absolutely.
But here's what's fascinating about uncertainty, okay? And I just recently listened to, I think it was a Harvard professor, neuroscientist, who was talking about this, that it is a universal, unequivocal fact that nobody is certain about anything because you never know what's going to happen. Nobody saw the pandemic coming, for example, right? And she said, listen, if you can just be certain in your uncertainty, then you know what? Life is actually going to be much richer because you're going to be, like you said, present at any given moment, monitoring what's happening. And I think what's really amazing, right, with the grit and the hustle of building your own company, okay, and doing so as a female entrepreneur, okay, across a number of different industries, I think what's fascinating is that as you go through life, you just know that no matter what comes your way, you're going to be able to handle it, right? You're going to be able to navigate it, right?
Yes.
You'll be like, you know what, I'll get through it because I got through it in the last 10 years, I'll get through it in the next 10 years, right?
Yeah. Absolutely.
So tell me, what is your key to success?
I guess it really depends on how you define success on a day-to-day basis. And I think that I'm very much goal-oriented, and I love to plan because if I want to get from here to there, I will go the most expeditious route, and that requires planning. But in order to determine success, you have to think about success here and also success every single day. Because life, and certainly business, even more so, it goes like this.
Yes.
It's not a straight path. It's not an uphill path. It's not a downhill path. It's just everything in between. Yeah. And so how I define success, honestly, will be based on the decisions I have to make on a day-to-day basis.
Wow. Okay. And tell me, and imagine like day-to-day, right? Versus, anyway, the point is you can't just coast. There's no coasting through life if you want to be an entrepreneur. Okay,
there's no
coasting. Okay.
None.
So any valuable lessons that you want to impart, like, you know, be careful who you trust, or I don't know, anything?
I think that yes, you will inevitably be disappointed by people. You will be probably burned in a number of situations, and there will always be something that you could never have anticipated. And I've experienced all of those things on a daily and monthly and an ongoing basis.
Wow.
So in a sense, if you expect that, you're much more prepared. It's almost like bracing for, if you're nervous about it, and you decide to take the position of, well, I don't know if I should take this risk, you're going to tense up.
Yeah.
And if you take the opposite approach to say, okay, that's going to happen. Like, for example, I've been to hundreds of trade shows in the last decade.
Okay.
And I learned quite quickly that at every single trade show, something major will go wrong. Okay. Something won't show up, a person won't show up, something will collapse or not happen. And going in, and when that happens, because it inevitably does, I'm okay with it. I'm not okay with it, but I know how to handle it. I know how to get past it. And then I start thinking, okay, how can I solve this problem? And then I'll start anticipating what could go wrong the next time. What's the most likely to go wrong? How can I brace for plan B, C, and D?
Yes, I got you. Wow. Okay. So tell me, aha moments. Are there any aha moments in your life? Like when you decided to like when you did the R&D research in 2015, did you have any aha moments of like, oh, you know what, I really want to do this? When the pandemic came, I would have thought that it would have been like, oh my goodness, now everyone's going to be thinking about hygiene and cleanliness, and specifically in this industry when it comes to laser tag or any game that has equipment that's going to be shared by consumer, it needs to be properly cleaned and whatnot. That's what I think. That's what we learned in 2019. So tell me, did you have any aha moments in which you know, during this journey in which you thought, oh wow, what an eye opener, or what an opportunity, or you know, this tragedy is an opportunity?
Well, we started before the pandemic, and we started to address issues that we didn't anticipate a pandemic around. And I think, you know, and of course we experienced that double-edged sort of rapid growth. But I think some of the aha moments were after, as the pandemic went on, to see people's reaction to the idea of hygiene and thinking about it in a negative way. It's almost like they had a pushback, saying, oh, I don't want to actually even acknowledge that this could be necessary. That was a bit of an eye-opener, and what that has shown me is it comes down to consumer behavior and human behavior. We as humans don't like change, and that's kind of part of being a human. Change will force its way into our lives, which is also part of the human experience. And so trying to learn to adapt, the aha moment was really realizing, wow, people just don't want to change their behavior. And so how do you encourage that to their benefit, to the point where you reach that tipping point, where it's no longer a burden and it's more normal and more accepted, and now it's part of the human experience. Got it.
Normalizing it such that it then, you know, in terms of an operating plan, it'll be a standard operating plan within an organization.
Exactly.
I think it's really the human condition of resisting change, despite all the evidence that should act as a forcing function. Like, I don't know how many dead, right? I mean, it should be enough to say, oh, wait a minute, I really do need to take this seriously. It needs to become part of my operation. Is really pretty, like you said, and pretty astounding, if you will. So knowing that it's challenging, right, to drive change, within an industry that is just so old, but it's fascinating because it's like, there's one thing that we know for sure about life is that change is a constant. It's inevitable. But what do you do to support operators who obviously need to learn?
Well, I think one thing is get past the assumption that they already know what to do, because honestly, practically speaking, the operators are very, very busy, and every one of us only has amount of time in a day to process what we can process. And so what I've learned through experience is it's helpful to provide an SOP. So if I already know that there's a standard operating procedure that works very well in entertainment, there's another one that works very well in various healthcare scenarios, and maybe a third that works very well in other types of professional businesses. And being able to put that all together, put all the components together, and hand somebody a very simple 1, 2, 3, lets them know, first of all, I know that you're going to run against these challenges, these barriers of entry, or these pain points. Good news, I've already solved this for you. Let me help you implement it. Let me show you it's already been done, and here are all the businesses that are already doing it this way.
Amazing.
And then what you've done is you've actually turned something that they thought was a pushback point into a really positive experience.
Amazing. Yeah, and in fact, at that case study that you just did and you were distributing,
yes.
My goodness, I can't even imagine how much work that was.
A lot.
And then I know, right? And I mean, it should be a massive source of pride. Think about it, right? Because it's not like you have a massive organization.
Right.
Sometimes I'm certain that you must feel like, hey, it's me and me.
Yes.
Okay. Anyway, okay. So tell me this: any valuable life lessons that you want to impart, or any mantras, or any favorite quotes, anything?
Oh man, there's so many things. I guess the thing that I'll take that on a personal way, because on a personal level, you know, when you deal with challenges of running a business, it can get you down sometimes. And what I've really tried to focus on, I don't know that this necessarily comes naturally to me, but I've learned that it's important.
Yeah.
And that is to say, okay, but let me spin this in a positive way.
Right.
Let me think about tomorrow as opposed to today. Let me think about, okay, this was kind of a sucky day, so, but there's tomorrow, presumably. There's tomorrow, and how could I do better? How could I be better? And also, you know, and taking your business in the context of everything else that's happening around you, whether it be industry or global or political or economic, and say these things will impact me, and as long as I learn to go with the flow and anticipate a little bit, I will be in a better position to navigate those challenges. And mentally, that helps me be a happier person, and certainly a happier business owner.
Absolutely. And I think that reminds me, absolutely good point. It reminds me of T. Robbins. And that, like, some of my takeaways from, so I listen to podcasts all the time.
Yeah,
we talked about this,
yes.
right? And just the fact that he's always like, hey, you know, are you in peak state? What is the story or the narrative you're telling yourself, right? And the reality is this: there's no situation that's good or bad. It's all about perspective and how you see it. So imagine, you know, state, story, and then strategy.
Right.
What will your strategy be moving forward? And I think that's, I think that is such a key to surviving, is being able to say, listen, even though today was bad, how will tomorrow be better? Or what's the gift in what's happening now, right?
And also, how can I influence tomorrow? So the reason that I'm involved in so many standards committees and other associations is because I've recognized there are big gaps in the infrastructure of the industries that I work in. And rather than waiting for those gaps to be reconciled, I decided, you know what, someone needs to do this work, and why isn't it me?
Oh, I love it.
Why not me?
Do it.
I'm going to do it.
Right, someone's going to do it, why not me?
Why do I wait for someone else to show up?
It's true, and then, hey, let me be the change I want to see in the world, right? I have the power to do that.
And there you go.
That's amazing. That's really cool. Okay, so tell me this. Okay, International Women's Day. Okay.
Yes.
Let me ask you something. When International Women's Day comes around, do you take a victory lap? Do you go, this entire month of March is about Women's History Month? Are you just like, this is about me and the women like me?
No, but maybe I will in the future. And what you've done is actually remind me, and this is a really great thing. And I think that anybody who owns a business or is in any kind of leadership position should remember this. You need to keep reminding yourself of all of the change that you've already made in the world. You need to remind yourself of all the barriers you've already gotten past. And then I think about, you know, when you mentioned Women's Day, I think about my grandmothers and the barriers that they had, societal, career-wise, everything else, 50 years ago, 80 years ago. I am in such a better position, even though there are so many challenges that remain.
So true.
I'm in a better position, and I have opportunities that they never would have had at all. So I'm very grateful.
That is so true. And may I mention to you on that note, okay? I too will think of my ancestors and my immigrant ancestors, and I always like, during difficult moments in my life, at least, what I will do is I will tap into their power, because I carry them with me. I feel like that, right? I carry them with me. And sometimes I feel that if I let's say, a bad day get me down, it would dishonor them. And to dishonor them would be to dishonor myself, right? And I think, I don't know where I read this quote, but something like, hey, don't forget the power of your ancestors, because they far outnumber your fears. And then I think to myself, hey, you know what? I'm just going to tap into that power, and absolutely nothing can get me down. Because here's the deal, Amy. We're not running around with, kidneys and coolers. Coolers and coolers, yes. Okay.
Well, that's a very evolved, in my opinion, that's a very evolved way of thinking about it.
Yeah.
And it can only mentally help you to have that perspective. If you're constantly looking at the challenges, which you have to practically embrace, but if that's your only focus, you're really going to miss out on the whole point of the journey. And you're on a journey, whether it's the one you planned, or whether it's a slight variation off the path, or whether it's just part of the evolution. If you don't enjoy it, what's the point?
Exactly. If you're not enjoying the journey, you're absolutely correct. What is the point? Because once you get to the destination, when you cross that finish line, or whatever that destination is, that victory is so short-lived that you literally run past it, right? And move on to the next thing, right?
Yeah.
Wow, this has been such a powerful conversation. And I think, you know, for anyone who is a business owner or a chief executive or who has KPIs like so many of us, right? And they're trying to juggle life and at the same time be in leadership positions. What I would say to them is tap into that power, right? And look for the opportunities and be grateful for the challenges because all of them teach you something, right? And like the only thing you have control over is how you show up in the world and the strength that you're able to tap into. And like, don't let anything get you down. I'm such a California girl, like, don't let anything get you. Amy, I can't thank you enough. Is there anything else you want to share, like a favorite quote?
Well, you've shared some great ones, so I don't know that I can top them. But I will say this, like, you know, it's very, I have to remind myself of this mental position every day, because every day I could be saying, oh, well, I had hoped to accomplish this by this time, or I wish that these people were surrounding me and they're not, or I wish that this had happened, or, and even I say these things, but I still have to remind myself every day, okay, I've decided this is my mantra, this is how I'm going to live, because what's the point of living a life where you're not happy in it? And that is the key to happiness, is to just roll with the flow, stay alive, keep moving forward.
As an entrepreneur, go with the flow, stay alive, keep moving forward.
There we go, that's my quote.
Right, there you go, staying alive. I love it. Right? But ultimately, I think, I kid you not, when you get through this journey, even though you're 10 years into it, okay, when you get through this journey to a point where you're like, okay, this is what I was after, for example, I think you're going to realize or be able to see that, hey, you architected your life and you lived your life on your terms, and I think that's incredibly powerful. So I, for one, I'm here to salute you and say Happy International Women's Day. Thank you for the gift of your example.
My pleasure.
Oh, here you are.
Thank you for having me.
It was
wonderful.
My pleasure. Thank you for coming on.